Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Eric Green and today we are making my first eco jar. So I went out to this piece of forest. Hopefully I can find everything I need for this tiny ecosystem. So of course the first thing I brought with me is this glass jar. I don't remember what was in it, but it's clean and ready for use. Then the second thing I brought with me is this tiny plastic scooper, and I'll use it to scoop soil into the jar and later on water. And then I brought this giant pincer which will help me decorate the jar within, and that's it. The first layer of the jar is gonna be a false bottom. It's a layer gravel or small stones where excess water can go into to keep the soil above not completely wet. So right now I'm looking for any small stones that I can use, and I noticed this piece of bone. I'm not sure what it is, but my guess is it's some kind of breastbone of some bigger bird. There's a lot of nests above me and there is a lake as well. Maybe you can tell me what it is in the comments. But what I notice is that there is no stone in this area, not even one. It's all bare ground and leaf litter, which is quite strange. So I start thinking, what else can I use as this false bottom? And I'm looking for something that's non-organic, so it doesn't break down. But I don't see anything. I then notice that there is actually quite many empty snail shells lying around me, and even though they are organic, it takes quite some time for them to decompose, so they could work as a replacement for these small stones. I'm not sure why there are so many shells here. I don't know if the snails go here to die, as in a graveyard, or maybe it's the birds from above me that eat them and then drop the shells down below. Either way, they would be the first layer of my jar. And then the shells I find, I think are the wood snail and a few white lip snail shells. But yeah, all empty. But yeah, you see in a few seconds I already have a handful. And while I'm walking to a new spot of shells, I find this little guy trying to cross my path. You see, right next to my finger, tiny guy, almost completely invisible at the forest floor. So this is a smooth nude. So here we are. Jar ready, and I picked a few handfuls of shells and I start putting them in the jar. What you want is an even layer that can hold that excess water and support the layers above. So I'm just cleaning them off a bit and dropping them in, and then I use the pincher to smooth it out so we get that nice even layer. Now the next part is I want some kind of a barrier between the soil and the snails, so the soil won't just fall into the bottom layer. And sometimes people use some kind of netting or filter paper, but out here I'll use some thin bark. You can see it's filled with life, so I'm just want to get them off. They're already too big for the jar to survive in, I think. so I just want the bark itself. So back at the jar, I'm just removing small pieces of the bark so I can easily put them together within the jar, and I just want to create a circle layer of it. So I just continue until I don't see any of the shells below. And there you can see no shells, just bark. So the next layer is gonna be the soil, and here I use my scooper to just get the topsoil in the same area. It's quite hard because it's filled with lots of small roots, but I think they'll be fine. The top layer also holds a lot of organisms that will help provide life for the ecosystem. So it should be filled with bacteria and fungi, and hopefully some springtails as well, and they will help break down dead organic matter and reintroduce those nutrients back into the soil so the plants can use it again. So here I'm just removing some pieces of root and some bigger clay pieces, and then trying to even it out, and I press it down so it's nice and firm, and that's it. Here's the soil. The next thing I want to do is collect some moss. I want all the soil covered with something green. And again, as you see, the soil is quite bare, so there's not a lot of moss on it, but you can also find moss on the trees. So here it is at the root of a tree, and I'm just carefully peeling off some moss. And I'll get some moss from different spots so we get some variety, and hopefully it creates some nice contrast within the jar. And then we can also see which of the mosses do well within it. And here I found some moss growing directly on the soil. And the last pieces on some roots. So now it's time to put the mosses within the jar, and here it's easy with the pincer. And I'm just spreading out until all the soil is covered, and I'm trying to press the moss down into the soil so there's good contact. Again, I just press it down so it's nice and firm, and we're ready for the last bit. Here, no soil is visible, just moss. So I'm looking for some additional plants to be added, and I want to pick something very small so we can see it grow within the jar. This plant called Wood Avens, I believe. It does grow a bit tall, but we'll see how it will handle the ceiling of the jar. I would prefer looking for maybe some ferns or something that is a ground cover, but I couldn't find any in this part of the forest. So we will try with this and see how it works out. There was quite a few of seedlings in here, and I just picking off some of them, so there's room for the ones I plant. So I just take the pincher and I create a hole between the mosses, and then I can easily press the plant down into it and then press the moss around it tight. So, and the very last thing we need is water. So there is a lake right next to me, so I'm just trying to scoop away the common duckweed so I can just get the water. And it should be very clear, clean, and nutrient rich. So I'm just doing a few scoops, let it soak through the moss and soil layer. Probably the best to do too little than too much water, because it's easier to add a bit more later if needed. So here we are back at my home, and this is our first jar of life. So again, bottom layer of snail shells, then a layer of bark, then the soil, and then we have our mosses and a few tiny plants. And I'll keep you updated how it goes. So remember, last thing we need to do is sign the lid so we know when we sealed it tight. And there we go, 20th of August 23. Alright, so thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked the video, and if you want to see more of this, then please subscribe and like the video. And if you have any cool tips about how to do these eco jars, then tell me in the comments below. Alright, see you in the next video. Bye.